my name is Olivia. This is my third time quarantining in Seoul, South Korea. That's 3 times upon arrival to Korea, 1 time arrival to the UK, 1 time when I had COVID itself. I counted the days and it's been roughly 58 days that I've been in isolation in the past 12 months. That's like 2 freaking months. But I know my experience is definitely not unique. I know everyone in the world is experiencing that right now, but still, 2 months of my life in isolation. Bonkers. So yeah, let's start at the beginning, shall we? So I'm in London. That was not intentional. It totally mean to stay in Korea, but visa issues came up. So I'm now in London applying for a longer term visa and not have to do all this back and forth because I do not want to do quarantine again. I might have to. The new variant, South Africa variant, of course, like I will have to, but what I really mean is I do not want to do quarantine in a government facility for a 3rd time. I'd like to do it at home next time because I am paying rent on an apartment that I am not living in. We'll see how it goes. So that video was taken a month ago. I'm still here. The visa process took a lot longer than was first thought, but that's, God, that's kind of normal, isn't it? Bureaucracy, that's a word I can't say. Bureaucracy. Visas take ages. I finally got my visa, I'm all ready to go, and then I get COVID. I was pretty sick for a while, actually. I didn't go to hospital or anything. The COVID numbers in the UK have been absolutely skyrocketing. My positive COVID test contributed to the total figure of 90,000 COVID cases in England, which is insane. I have been able to have a really nice Christmas with my family, which has been really, really lovely. And I didn't expect it. I was totally planning on having Christmas, my first ever Christmas abroad, but it just wasn't meant to be. So it's currently 31st of December. I'm going to bring in the new year by myself, actually. And I've got a pre-made espresso martini, which I'm very excited to get pissed on, and there's 2 more of these, so I'm just gonna get completely drunk. So wish me a happy new year. Happy new year. Negative result, baby. Yeah, I really did think it was gonna come back positive. I'm wearing a mask because I'm having a really bad skin day, but also I'm getting on a flight, so who really cares? So that suitcase, I actually came here thinking I'd be here in London for 2 weeks and it turned into a month and a half. So living out a suitcase that long, sounds like I'm moaning. I am moaning. Okay, this is all my stuff. Time to go. I'm definitely more nervous about this flight. I have this like theory that British PCR tests are not as sensitive as the Korean PCR tests. So when I arrive, I'm concerned that I will get a positive based on the fact that I had COVID whilst I was in England, then subsequently go to a place where they take people who've recently tested positive for COVID. I think it's something to do with when the test detects dead parts of the virus that are in your system still. But if all goes well, I will be back in my apartment and being able to quarantine there instead of the hotel. Okay. Taxi, where are you? Home quarantine. Day 1. So I arrived yesterday, and today, the 5th of January, is day 1. So I will be out in 10 days time, which is the 14th of January. I've got 2 PCR tests to go and get. The one good thing I now see about the hotel quarantine is that they do all of that for you. They provide you the 2 PCR tests when you arrive and before you leave, so you don't need to like organise going anywhere or anything. But then on the other side of the spectrum, I can work to my own schedule. So I can eat when I want, I can order food, but pros and cons to both, I guess. But I know I'd much rather be here, so yay. One thing I'm really loving is having all my clothes back. The other thing I'm really loving is Korean underfloor heating. Some British houses are so cold and I'm just a very cold person. So underfloor heating is so dreamy and I'm so loving it right now. In terms of logistics, there's an app that you have to download twice daily, update if you've got any symptoms or not and your temperature. And I know that I have to physically go and get a PCR test in my nearest health centre, but I wasn't actually instructed to do that. Everywhere online as well, it says that you'll get a phone call, someone will call you and kind of explain. Like, I'm ready to go now. Should I just go? Or there's so much about your phone being tracked, so if I haven't had the go-ahead to go, can I? Anyway, so many unanswered questions. Well, that didn't work. So PCR test done. It's just not a great, it's not just not an enjoyable experience. Obviously having something stuck up your nose is not an enjoyable experience, but the whole turning up, getting in the queue, just being rushed along, and I was given a form and I was told to sit down and fill this form out. My brain just wasn't working. I was trying to put my date of birth in. I couldn't remember if it was the year that was first or the month and the day. I was just getting really confused and I was staring at it, and the lady comes over and just like just whips it out of my hand. Like, okay, oh cool, all right, being moved along, all right, fine. And they're very, very blunt with you. You just look at these workers and they're overworked. You feel that. It's bad energy all around. So part of the first day, you get this little sanitary kit. So let's open it up and see what's inside. First up, we've got some paperwork in Korean. Ooh, our favourite biohazard bags. Ooh, shit ton of masks. Hand sanitizer spray, useful. Lastly, oh look, this is a leaflet on how to install the app that they showed you how to install at the airport. Great, so information I already had. Lovely. I'm only in a foul mood because of jet lag. I really think countries like Korea are doing this brilliantly. I'm going to sleep. Okay, so here we are, present day. My test results came back the very next day, like 8:30 a.m. Negative. Basically that means I'm allowed to stay here in my own apartment for the duration until I test negative again, in which case I'm allowed out. Freedom to be amongst humans once more. I am so lucky, and I've been reading absolute nightmare stories on all the Facebook groups I'm a part of. I know, Facebook, right? What a graveyard. But they've come out with some really horrible stories of what happens when you test positive upon arrival. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky. It also turns out that whether they call you or not depends on the district. Oh yeah, and I've also noticed that care packages sometimes come through. I've got my sanitary kit, which I showed you before, but sometimes you get care packages with food and, you know, things to survive being by yourself for 10 days. But I haven't received anything like that because I already have a Korean phone number and I've already set up the relevant apps on my phone. It is also worth noting that the text that I received, the English didn't say anything about getting a PCR test upon arrival, but the Korean did. I'm going to link some videos down below that are supremely helpful for anyone attempting to go through this process. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Bye.